Welcome back to another episode of
23rd and Dissent, where we talk about everything Oklahoma.
Where were we?
Fascism.
So what do you want to get into first? So much has happened.
She's so kind.
What?
You haven't seen this?
No.
Okay. So Oklahoma has the Pardon and Parole Board, who exists specifically to review cases of people not on just death row, but also people serving life sentences, I believe. What's come out is recently there have been, I think, 2 people who have resigned from the Pardon and Parole Board, maybe just one. 2 Pardon and Parole Board leaders have resigned recently. OSBI is investigating bribery allegations against former chairman Calvin Prince. He visited Prince in his office alone after hours for a counseling session in which Prince requested that the person remove her clothes. This time, it was asked during the same message in which Prince states, "A pardon is absolutely possible for you." And so it raises a question of like, was he, I guess, recommending pardons on the basis of women. So many talks of like, we need transparency and accountability, especially when it comes to governmental bodies. Mm-hmm. And so this is one of those things where, transparency is definitely needed, because like, why are you promising somebody like a pardon if they perform sexual acts for you? That's weird people shit. Don't do that.
Reminds you of like, that's what I said, like, that's like assault. It's like the fucking, I don't remember what officer it was, but there was an officer going around assaulting. I think it was in Oklahoma.
Yes, he was charged. The Oklahoma City police officer you're talking about that raped somebody?
That's
time in less than 6 months, Oklahoma City police have arrested one of their own officers on suspicion of rape, assault, and threats of violence. On Saturday, OKCPD arrested 23-year-old officer Shamar Kitchens on suspicion of first-degree rape, forcible sodomy, rape by instrumentation, pointing a firearm, pointing a weapon at another, domestic assault and battery, and threatening to perform an act of violence. Like, okay, let's just run up the bill. Damn, like, relax.
Oklahoma City's finest. What?
The officer that attacked that elderly man, he's facing charges of assault and battery, I think.
That's good. Is it Vicky Bahena who's still the DA?
Yeah, Vicky Bahena is the Oklahoma County DA.
Okay, and her
man is still in the hospital.
Oh my gosh, pewings.
Oh
yes, this is crazy.
It has been quite a year for targeted gun violence.
But have you seen the video of the pewing?
No, I've seen like the clips of the guy, and every single picture that the NYPD releases, it looks like a different person, and I'm like, I don't think we're talking about the same guy.
They released face pics, and this is really bad. He's really attractive.
That's what everyone's saying. And also, imagine how good it must feel to pull off the most successful assassination in recent U.S. history. The day that the incident happened, it was Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield said that they weren't going to pay for anesthesia for longer than the set, like by the book time that it's supposed to take. But that would have only applied to 3 states. I think it was Texas, Missouri, and New York. But after the whole assassination attempt, they're like, actually...
How about another joke, Murray?
Really crazy to think about that just happening, especially in New York City. And it was like, he had a silencer and everything.
I was going to say, I really fuck with the idea of assassinations, because we got close with Trump this year. And part of me believes that definitely helped bolster his sort of like public perception and like
ego.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bad for him. Not bad enough that like I forgive him for anything, but bad in the sense of like, he literally made this bed and he's now having to lie in it. And instead of sort of owning up to these things, he's continuing to run with it.
Maybe in 40s.
Have you seen Queen Charlotte?
It didn't go over the wall, George.
She didn't go over the wall. But Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte, when she's, still married to Lord Danbury before his untimely passing. It's not untimely.
I'm so glad he died.
But how she kind of just has to like sit there and take it, and then she takes really hot baths after they're done. I imagine Melania experiences a similar thing. She's just like, I'm just trying to get that Birkin, like.
Hey, but love is love. She loves them. That's her man. My man, my man, my man.
You've seen the videos of him trying to grab her hand and she's like...
What's crazy is I feel like people's anger is turning from politicians now to like the corporations we've been talking shit about, but no one wants to go confront them. Should you shoot them? Probably not.
But there's the discourse of like, you shouldn't laugh about somebody getting murdered. And it's like, well, we're not technically laughing at that. Well, maybe not me specifically. I can't speak for others. But it's sort of naive to think that people in positions of power within the insurance field, I don't know if they'd be laughing at us like, oh, somebody, died because they couldn't afford some life-saving medical procedure. One life in exchange for thousands, hundreds of thousands that have fallen through the cracks because the healthcare system in America is for profit.
Guess who's not Secretary of Public Ed?
Ryan Walters.
That is correct. Move on.
But speaking of like religion in Oklahoma, first of all, I don't believe that any form of prayer belongs in government meetings, but it's something that they do here. They do it in Oklahoma County. They do it in Tulsa as well. A woman came in. She led a prayer that was satanic in nature. And I don't know enough about Satanism, if that's what it's even called, to really even make heads or tails of what she was saying. It created this whole sort of backlash. Like, I believe Stitt said something about it and was like, we have no room for that type of prayer. And it's like, okay, but you were the one who was advocating for religious liberties. You just created that new office. You can't pick and choose what religions are allowed. If you want Oklahoma students to know more about the Bible,
they literally have Sunday school. They literally have Sunday school.
Literally Sunday school. And it's not lost on Oklahomans, the idea of Jesus. No, everybody in Oklahoma knows who Jesus is. We're not at a lack of knowledge around Jesus.
Why is he acting like the Bible isn't something that like people have access to, especially students in Oklahoma? This is something that if they want to, you are more than welcome to read it. For you need to pay your teachers a fucking livable wage. Those are the things that you should be addressing, not buying literature that is already available. You can download a Bible app free on your phone. It's rising my blood pressure, Ryan.
Every time Oklahoma gets a little too brave with the religious liberties, which is specifically, they've mentioned Judeo-Christian values. It's purely Christian values. That's up for debate. A lot of people will, I guess, debate about, is Oklahoma technically the South? Is it the Midwest? It's not the Midwest. It's not the South. We kind of just live in this, I guess, gray, conservative gray area.
You're talking about geographically, yes, we are in the South. Culturally, I get Midwestern vibes more in Tulsa. I get more Southern vibes in Oklahoma City.
I say the Southern Great Plains. But like a lot of the times when I'm referring to it, I'm thinking about it in like an environmental perspective.
And so I'm like, I guess if you wanted to say like geographically, we are in the Southern Great Plains. Like it extends down to here into a bit of the Panhandle of Texas.
Circulates Twitter, I swear to God, every month, and it's a picture of Oklahoma, and the Panhandle is circled, and they're like, "What goes on here?" And it's like, okay, that portion of the state literally existed because slavery. Like literally, like we only have that because Texas gave up the Oklahoma Panhandle because they sought to enter the Union in 1845 as a slave state. Under the Compromise of 1850, Texas surrendered its lands north of that rather than have a portion of the state be a free territory. It's also kind of funny to me because like my specific, I guess, history with the church is it's not your typical, like, I wasn't forced to go to church growing up, but I saw that my friends went and I was like, oh, that looks like a good time, I'll go. But it's funny because my first experience with cross-dressing was at a church because 'tis the season. It was our Christmas program. And, you have to audition for certain roles and, like, the whole nativity situation. I wish I could tell you more. I was cast as one of the three wise men. Wise men.
I was one of the three wise men, too. That's so cute.
See? We did, like, breakdancing and stuff. We were the three wise blues brothers. This was a new age church as fuck. Like, they were getting really, I guess, loose with the interpretations. To go to church where there's none of this, like, trans agenda, left woke indoctrination.
Your church is saying that?
No, that's what the government is saying.
Oh, yeah, yes, they are.
But
sorry,
I went to this church that was like, yeah, sure, you can be a boy. Yeah. So there's a really good investigative article by Wendy Suarez, who is a Fox 25 journalist. Class A bad bitch. Like, she be getting the answers.
I follow her on Twitter.
Yeah, and she follows us back because she's great. Fox sort of has this reputation of being very, conservative, and you'd think they'd sort of buy into the Ryan Walters gimmick. And technically on a national level, they do. He's a guest on Fox News all the time and all these smaller, like, offshoot, nobody news sources. And for those who don't know, the Heritage Foundation is the group that sort of orchestrated Project 2025.
Correct.
And so for at least a year, maybe longer, mind you, Ryan Walters has only been in office for 2 years. But for a substantial amount of time since he's taken office, there have been numerous correspondence between the Heritage Foundation and the OSDE. The things that they found was, I guess Walters was sort of modeling some of the things that are being implemented in the state in regards to the Department of Education through advice that he gained from the Heritage Foundation. But I hear Walters spends very little time actually in his office. He spends a lot of time using taxpayer money to go and entertain people like Moms for Liberty and the Heritage Foundation.
I was driving out to Choctaw the other day to go see my grandpa. He cooked me a birthday meal. Loved it. And for the first time in months, I had seen on the side of the road people selling Trump merchandise. And I was really thinking, I was like, someone is in Choctaw, Oklahoma, is on the side of the road selling Trump flags, hats, bumper stickers, and everything. It's like his name, his brand has become a symbol of something more than just himself. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's why we were just talking about, like, these assassinations. Like, he's had two assassination attempts on his life. We just had that United Healthcare thing happen. I'm sure there's much more shit that has happened this year that I'm not even mentioning.
It just feels like the Trump flag has sort of become, like, ubiquitous of, like, every issue that the right sort of gets behind, like pro-life, back the blue. I drove by this house the other day that had a permanent sign in their yard. Like, they built this shit.
Oh.
It's vote pro-life. And then they also had a back the blue flag hanging on their,
oh my God,
what do you call it? Fence. And I'm like, first of all, if you can't even afford a flagpole, baby, maybe you need to focus on something else. But yeah, I think like the Trump flag has sort of become this all-encompassing flag that's like, you just know where that person stands on basically every issue. And it sort of like absolves you from having an opinion on every single thing because you're just like, Trump, you just default to Trump and like whatever it is he's spewing at the time.
He's their Mockingjay. That's their Katniss Everdeen. Bill Clinton and Hillary were just here.
Are they alive still? Bill Clinton's been looking rough, dude.
Yeah, I saw a picture with Mayor Holt, and he was like, they were here for the bombing originally. Because was he president when was he president when the?
95?
Oh, yeah,
so.
okay, yeah.
I talked about this in an earlier episode, but I read the Declaration of Independence not long ago. It was around the time of the election. I was like, what was our breakup note like? Majority of the reasons that we decided to gain and fight for our independence are things that Trump is trying to implement like day one of off. Have you seen Severance on Apple TV? So the premise is they work in this office space and they get this thing put in their brain that whenever they enter the elevator and pass down into the area that they work, their, I guess, like consciousness switches to a second, a second sort of like being. And so everything that they do while they're at work, they have no recollection of. And everything that they do, once they go back home to work, they don't have access to those memories whenever they get into work. So it's a complete division between what you're doing at work and what you do in your personal life. And it's just crazy. The trauma is crazy.
I gotta watch that. I did.
It's really good. I'm really excited for that. It's probably the best show that Apple TV has put out. They have a lot of other shows that I really like, but that one by far is definitely one of their most popular.
Did you watch Wicked?
No.
What?
I'm going to.
What? Do you not like Wicked?
It's just long. Like, that's my thing is, like, I don't like to commit to things that are longer than 2 hours. I watched Oppenheimer, and literally after they created the bomb, my ass fell asleep. I was like, okay, they did it. They did the thing they set out to do. Let me go to bed.
I have a link if you want to watch it in HD at your house.
Wicked. You should not say these things publicly.
A couple of thousand songs off the internet. Who has it?
Back in the day, MySpace was really popular. Like, that was the first social media that I remember using. Before that, it was like Club Penguin.
Not Club Penguin. Mine was Pop Tropica.
God, I didn't like Pop Chalk.
I loved Pop.
Well, they're always trying to teach you shit, and it's like sometimes I'm not in the mood to learn. Sometimes I want to be silly. I want to be a penguin, and I want to go work at the pizza shop. Facebook came around, and then it sort of took away this whole individuality aspect of social media for a second, because it was like, you have to use your real name. You know, you can't customize your page. It's just your profile picture, and then eventually they're like, cover photo perhaps. And then Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr started popping up around the same time that Twitter did, because I remember I was deep in the Tumblr. I love Tumblr. Heavy on the Tumblr. Yeah, TikTok popped up, and it truly revolutionized the way that social media behaved, because TikTok is more about, I would say, quantity than quality. Mm-hmm. And I remember the day that infinity scroll became a thing. Like, you could no longer reach the end of a timeline ever. There was always something new that it would show to you. And if you ran out of things that people that you followed or friends with posted, then it would just start spewing suggested posts from things that it thinks you would like. And so it's exhausting to like get on social media, because it truly is like, you have to be like, okay, I'm done. I'm putting the phone down. I don't want to scroll anymore. I need to like jump back into the real world.
Education for parents surrounding social media was not there, especially when we were growing up. I'm asking mom, hey, can I hop on Instagram? Hey, can I hop on Facebook?
Right.
My mom had me when she was 16, so that's not a great example. But even I had friends whose parents were in their 60s and 70s when we were in high school. Yeah. They have no idea what Facebook or Instagram is.
Right. It's not a new thing for like children to explore self-harm and to feel bad about themselves because of things that they've seen online. There was a teenage boy who unalived himself this year because he had formed a relationship with an AI bot.
Okay.
It starts to incorporate psychology, which is like ever evolving and ever changing. But again, like a lot of these, like, I guess psychology sort of theories and like views and beliefs that still exist into the modern day, it's going to have to start to rapidly change and start to incorporate more things like the DSM. I can't remember what that stands for, but it's been updated several times, but it's still like things are changing so rapidly that the science behind it isn't keeping up with how to handle things. But where I want to go with this is Oklahoma passed a law in the past legislative session that prohibits sites like Pornhub from allowing people to access them unless they upload physical government ID. And, you know, I think Pornhub has just completely withdrawn access to the state of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma servers,
yeah.
In Texas.
Because, and they believe that there's better ways to protect minors on the modern...
Infringing on people's privacy.
Yeah, in the modern day technology and the modern day internet. And one of those would be device-based, I guess, authorizations, where your device knows that you, for a fact, are an adult. Mm-hmm. But, you know, say if your child has an iPhone, they can't authorize their own iPhone unless they go and steal their parents' ID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what Apple has these. Yeah. Apple already has these, like you just said, has these things in place to know whether you're adult or not. Because I think even with Cash App will not let you have they'll give you a Cash App Kids version based off of your Apple ID, because your Apple ID.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Gabe couldn't. Well, this is I don't know about now, but Gabe couldn't. And Apple Pay too. Apple Pay won't do it as well because he wasn't over 18 yet.
Which is reasonable, because you shouldn't
at all.
Yeah, like having access to your parents' bank account like that and just buying whatever you can, or sending people money that you don't actually have that then your parents have to pay for. Like that obviously can cause like your family can go bankrupt.
Do you remember the one that happened in Oklahoma with the Life Church pastor?
No. Okay, they happen all the time.
No, this was like, it's Anna. This man met up with, I forgot what they called themselves, the people who chase around pedophiles. They met at a
Catch a Predator.
It was either, I think it was a Dick's Sporting Goods or something. It was on the south side of Oklahoma City. They had met with this man. He was thinking that he was meeting with like a 13, 14, maybe 15-year-old girl for sex.
God knows.
They get on Facebook Live, Anna, following him in the store, out the store, and instantly it starts going viral. People are like, we're at my house, like on the south. You remember when I stayed on the south side near? We were over there, and all of a sudden he's like, "Have you get on Facebook Live? Like, we got to go to this.
We gotta go. What do you mean we gotta go?
Because like people were literally like showing up, and
Oh
I was
my
just like, I don't know. Let's just watch the live. The live is happening, and all I'm seeing is people are like, he works here. He's a pastor at Life Church. This is his wife's Facebook, and like literally, you got 3,000 people in Oklahoma City playing Investigator Gadget right now, trying to find out who this man is.
Inspector Gadget.
No, what is it?
Inspector Gadget.
What Investigator Gadget? Is that what I said?
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Finally, you see, like, he's a youth pastor at Life Church, and that
Always
shit
the
blew.
damn youth pastors or the
Shit
basketball
blew
coach.
up. It was like, that's only in Oklahoma City, and I was like, not Life
We
Church.
kind of went all over the place with this episode.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
was.
we do. We just get together and we talk. Again, we're not experts on anything. We just like to talk.
It's our
We like to
opinions.
say things. Yeah. Thanks for supporting us.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, it's Anna. I'm tired. How have you been, Anna?
I have a Glock.
It's election night, 2024, and we're losing.
She's got. Okay, so let's
Because
get back.
guess who's on an FBI watch list? You are.
Who did you vote for? You can be honest. We won't tell your husband.
But yeah, we kind of went all over the place with this episode. At the white rally.
Where were we?
Fascism.
Fascism. I've been saying fuck the government for almost 10 years. Wow.
It's been a while.
Till next time, it's Ty
And Anna.